Hey guys, welcome to the lecture series on ethical hacking. So in continuation to the things what we are discussing, like how the Trojans will be working out, what are the tools and techniques that will be used with the attackers, and what are the different type of covert operation, how the covert communication will be carried out, and keystone logging mechanisms and all these things. Now we will be taking this lecture mainly to have the prevention mechanisms or else countermeasures, how we are going to detect these things, and how I am going to avoid these things so that we can maintain our own privacy or else our own security. Coming to the basic introduction, okay, we'll have a glance about what exactly are Trojan and moreover backdoors as a repetition for 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, then I go with the countermeasures, how we are going to implement different type of prevention mechanisms to avoid Trojans not to affect my own system or else my own network. Let me go with the what exactly the Trojans. Okay, or also backdoors, even they will be called as a trapdoors also. They will be mainly allowing the attacker to gain the total unauthorized access. They will be entering into our system, okay, without the proper credentials, without information to the admin, without information to the user. And once they are entering into the system via the backdoors, also loopholes, or else trapdoors, okay, they will be revealing the total data. They may steal the data. Okay, they may control. They may gain the total access control, even though they are maybe present in some sort of remote location. Okay, so how these are the different type of things that will be occurred once we are having the Trojans or also backdoors. So coming to the countermeasures, how we are going to provide the required security, how we are going to implement a different type of layered architecture or else a layered security controls, essentially to avoid the attacker not to enter into a system, to detect if any action has been carried out, and we try to avoid the response or the resultant of that particular attack also. So these things has to be carried out. So entire things will be called as a countermeasures. We have to in a position first of all to prevent, not to have any sort of attacks. Suppose if attack has been happened, next we are going to detect, and next taking the countermeasures will be of meaningless. First of all, we have to go with the proper preventive mechanisms, not to have these type of things. Somehow even though we are using different type of preventive mechanisms, okay, somehow the system has been attacked. Okay, how we are going to detect that things, how I am going to make different type of countermeasures not to have a major effect because of these particular attackers. So first of all, what I'll be going, we have to have a proper install and maintaining the security softwares. Different type of malware, spyware, anti-spyware, anti-malware softwares has been available in our market. Okay, we have to always go with the reputable antivirus softwares or else tools to regularly audit, to regularly check is there any chance of having for these type of attacks. Okay, we have to always go for the signatures and more engines updated regularly. The digital signatures has to be regularly updated. Okay, enabling the real-time protection. Okay, why? Because we are making the required real-time communication. So we have to enable these particular different type of preventive or also protection mechanisms. Okay, always make use of these scheduling regular full-time scans. Okay, in the backend once I'm switch on. Okay, so in the backend the scanner has to take the total responsibility to scan is there any chance of having these type of attacks. Okay, enabling the automatic updates also, especially for the software applications related to the software security. So we do have the different type of security softwares like Microsoft Defender. It is a default available in every sort of operating system. Apart from that thing, we can go with the Casper Sky or else Norton 360. There are the different type of softwares which we are very much familiar. From the childhood onwards, we have gone through this type of different type of antivirus softwares, even Avira, okay, EAPCET. So once I am going for these type of external software, security software applications, there is a chance of having the backend, the continuously scanning will be happen. So automatically there is a small effect of performance degradation. Okay, some applications may look like somewhat of slow. Why? Because in the backend the scanning has been happening. Okay, these are some small drawback, but this drawback is a minute thing. We can minimize that things. So we have to implement a proactive security practice. Okay, always to reduce the risk of Trojans or also backdoors or also trapdoors, so that we can protect my own system data and moreover user information also. Always we have to keep my system to update. We have to use a different type of firewall mechanisms like a packet filtering routers, okay, which will be regularly checking the unauthorized access. Okay, we have to always monitor about the suspicious network traffic whenever we are having a DOS attacks. That implies whenever the attacker is pumping millions of requests, making the server as busy. At that particular instant, often the legitimate user will be not be getting the required services from the server. So the firewall has to take the required countermeasure in such a manner that whenever we are getting millions of requests from same IPs, better to avoid that particular IP or pass until further action. Okay, first of all, pass this particular request that has been coming from the same IP and check whether it is of genuine or not. Then we can have a proceed operation. So we have to take different type of configuration or else countermeasure policies. We have to always go with the principle of least privilege whenever we are having a least privilege applications. Okay, in that case, every time there is no need to have the access via the admin. Okay, try to avoid the admin access privileges and create your own account, and from there try to access the data. So once we are accessing through admin will be having the total authorization, total access control. So once the attacker is attacking the admin privileges, he can access the entire data and gains the control. So try to avoid, especially once we are doing any sort of least privilege applications, try to avoid using from the admin. And additionally, we have to use different type of best practice mechanisms. Always we have to go with the MFA, that is nothing but multi-factor authentication, as I am regularly saying about. Okay, always go with the third-party authentication. Okay, regularly make the required backup for the important data. Okay, there is a chance the attacker may attack via some sort of open ports and attack my system. I had seen one particular application. Okay, this is a thing that has been already established. Okay, suppose whenever the attacker has attacked my terminal via some sort of open ports or any sort of like Trojans or else any sort of trapdoors or even from the keystroke login mechanisms, any sort of thing. Okay, at that time, I will be making the mechanism in such a manner that I will be pretending the data that has been available for the attacker may be of genuine, but the high sensitive information without knowing from the attacker, I will be making them into the higher secured place, so that attacker will not be attacking the sensitive information. As attacker has attacked some sort of data, he will be making use and he will be thinking that the total data has been accessed by me. But whenever we are getting some sort of triggering alerts by the applications, what we are doing, immediately what I will be doing, I will be simply copying I will be moving the entire data to the high secure locations. Thereby we can provide some sort of security, but we have to respond within minute of seconds itself. Okay, always monitor the required system logs and moreover the alerts. The education of the user is very much important for us at everywhere. Okay, first of all, user should know, okay, these are the different type of mechanisms that will be used by the attacker. Then only we can make the different type of counter mechanisms. Okay, user education is very much important. And we should have some sort of EDR, that is nothing but endpoint detection moral response. If any unevent situation has been occurred, as I said right now, when we are getting some sort of triggering alert by any sort of malware anti-malware softwares, immediately the high sensitive data has to be moved to the high secured place, so that attacker will not access that particular data. And moreover, every time we have to monitor the required operation that has been carried out by the users and the applications what we are doing and everything, and it has to go on through the review. And if any unevent situation has been there, if anything is a fishy, immediately stop that particular operation so that we can take the required necessary actions. In condition to that, we have to install and maintain the proper security softwares. Different type of antivirus or else malware softwares has been available. We have to go with the high reliability malware softwares. Okay, we have to keep my own system always updated, and we have to use different type of firewall mechanisms, what I said right now. And we have to always concentrate about the principle of least privileges. So even to some sort of websites or else some sort of database, for example, college database itself. So every level of administrator will be having different type of access privileges. So principal will be having access privilege to access entire data. HOD will have the access privilege to access his own data. Okay, class in charge will have the privilege to access his own section, and student will be having privilege to access his own data itself. So at level by level, again in some sort of hierarchical fashion, if I am defining the access control privileges, then we can maintain some sort of security. Even every person is maybe unauthorized, but accessing what sort of data at what instant of time and when instant of time will make a sense. So we have to clearly define the privilege for every individual user so that we can provide the required security. So these are the different type of countermeasures in extension to the things what we have been discussed right now in the first, second, and moreover third slides. Let me go with the different type of preventive measures. So we have to go with the different type of antivirus softwares. Okay, the antivirus softwares, not only using those things, we have to keep regularly updated with the new versions, new patches. We have to use the high secured firewall mechanisms has to be followed. The firewall repository, the firewall database, the firewall privilege, everything has to be properly updated and properly defined. And we have to go with the principle of least privilege with a different type of access permissions and access privilege. We have to clearly define what is authorized and what is unauthorized, and we have to go with the safe counting habits, committing habits, like what we will be doing. Always avoid the suspicious link. Okay, always avoid the phishing mails. Okay, always avoid to try to download or also access data from the pirated versions of websites or also unauthorized websites, so that we can provide the required countermeasures. Not only these things, we can have to maintain the network preventive protection mechanisms also. That implies we have to go with the segmented networks like a parent and multiple childs, and these childs will be having the other sub childs. So whenever the childs want to communicate with each other at even at the same level, so they have to communicate via their own parent. So somehow we are providing some sort of security. Okay, we have to have a proper intrusion detection mechanisms and moreover prevention mechanisms in such a manner that RES always works with the two principles, like rule-based intrusion detection system and moreover statistical intrusion detection systems. So in the case of rule-based, even though every person may be authorized to access the data, but they will be having different type of access privileges. So it will be defined by the rule-based intrusion detection systems. So as per the rule, myself I have to do access only these particular websites. I have to do only this type of operations. If I am having privilege to access only this sort of database. Beyond that, if I am requesting for any other data, beyond that, if I am opening other websites and I am doing any sort of unwanted operations, that can be easily tracked by the rule-based intrusion detection system. Similarly, with the statistical statistical intrusion detection system also. In the case of the user's log information, the historical information what he has been carried out will be entirely checked, and the statistics will be analyzed, and if something is fishy, automatically we are providing some sort of triggering alerts and cautioning the admins. And next to the other things, we can go with a different type of not only detection, we have to go with the prevention mechanisms also. Okay, we have to always go with the monitor and more filter the traffic by using different type of packet filtering routers. Okay, we have to always go with the disabling the unused services or else ports. Whenever we are not making any sort of communication via some sort of ports, always make it as a disable. Why? Because without my knowledge, the attacker may use those particular open ports to enter my system or else in my network. So always use the VPN services, virtual private networks. So which will be providing a high security for me. And we have to always go with the detection, moreover monitoring measures has to be carried out. Okay, we have to go with the clear uses of the EDRs. Okay, immediate response. If any uneven situation has been occurred, has been detected, we have to make the required countermeasures. So not to have any sort of attacks. And next, last, going with the access control measures. Okay, so we have to go with the multi-factor authentication, and we have to clearly define the every user's access control privilege. As per that privilege itself, the user has to respond. Okay, beyond that, he is doing any sort of uneven situation, we have to detect and we have to make the required countermeasures, avoiding, stopping, and misusing the operations at that particular instant of time. So this is about the different type of countermeasures that can be carried out once we do have the Trojans or also backdoors. Thank you.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe VNR Digital Learning Resource YouTube channel.